So January 5th is when that runoff election in Georgia will take place to decide if, you know, really horrible people and politicians, was it Kelly Loeffler and Senators David Perdue, Republicans, will be reelected to the Senate, or if John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, Democrats, neoliberal centrists, as we'll see, obviously marginally better than the Republicans. I don't think that's in question, and they're definitely not Warnock or Ossoff, as like the right and certain media outlets are like to paint them as some radical leftist or Marxist or socialist or whatever. That's completely disconnected from reality, and I'll show you that. So it'll be very interesting, and it looks. This is from 538. Ossoff, about a point ahead of Perdue right now. Loeffler is trailing Warnock by 1.6 percentage points at this point. So let's just look at some of the policies for Warnock and Ossoff. And again, should be known that just Loeffler and Perdue are very, very far to the right, completely in the pocket of big business. And I mean, those were the two that profited from, having that insider information about the pandemic, and then they sold off these stocks and made a bunch of money, or at least, didn't lose money because of that, this insider trading, which neither one of them was punished in any way for. So this is Warnock on climate. Let's see. Rejoining Paris Climate Accord, which Trump got out of, which obviously is not nearly enough. Work to reverse Trump's attack on the EPA, protect Georgia's coastlines, push for investment in resources, education, advocate for marginalized people to receive training and education, participate in the green. But obviously, to commit to transition into clean economy by 2050, when the scientific consensus is we basically have 10 years to completely get away from fossil fuels, and his is 2050, so obviously not nearly enough. Very centrist and neoliberal on climate. Let's look at healthcare. We'll see more of the same. Only going to do a couple of these for each, because otherwise it'd be a bit of a long and tedious video. Let's see. Listen to the experts. Improve, protect, and build upon the Affordable Care Act. Defend protections for pre-existing conditions. So very, again, neoliberal, centrist, not advocating for universal health care, even though it would save hundreds of billions of dollars, tens of thousands of lives. There'd be no longer the ridiculous, atrocious thing of people going bankrupt because of medical debt in the U.S. So again, it's just more tweaking around the edges. So again, I hope you can see that Warnock is not some radical leftist, as much as I would love if he was, and frankly, if he had adopted more popular positions like supporting Medicare for all during a pandemic when tens of millions of people have lost their jobs, I would argue, because that is hugely popular, that he would probably be up even more in the polls. So that's Warnock on a couple of the issues. Here is Ossoff, and this is on the environment and more of the same. I'll push for America to immediately re-enter the Paris Climate Accords. Again, not nearly enough. We need a expansive eco-socialist Green New Deal right away. We've needed it, for quite some time, obviously. I'll work to reverse the Trump admin's rollback of clean air, clean water, and fuel economy standards. Again, that's all fine and dandy, but it's not going nearly enough while the world is literally burning before our eyes and having all of these massive disastrous consequences. And both Ossoff and Warnock, these tiny little tweaks around the edges that aren't going to address any of these underlying issues. Let's see. Okay, so that was, let's do education. Let's see. When discussing, we need greater emphasis on vocational training. That's why in the Senate, I'll work to make trade school and vocational training free. Why? Okay. That's fine. That should obviously be free, but higher education outside of vocational and trade school should also be free. Bachelor's, master's, PhD should all obviously be free for sure. And I'll work to make 4-year degrees at a public colleges 100% debt free. What does that even mean? What does that even mean, Ossoff? And then I support a generous forgiveness program. So this is, again, typical neoliberal centrist means testing student debt relief. I support a generous forgiveness program for those struggling to pay off their student. That's fucking everybody, you numbnuts. That is why people had to take student loans in the first place, because they couldn't afford it, because higher education is exorbitantly expensive in the United States when it need not be, obviously. Caps on interest rates to relieve financial cancel all of it, make it free. I mean, for fuck's sake. So again, just a couple of centrist hacks. And again, all right, well, let's just look at, for comparison, Kelly, Loeffler on the issues. Look at the first thing that comes up. Loeffler condemns white supremacists after taking photo with him. I mean, for fuck's sake. And she had no idea they were white supremacists. I'm sure. Okay, where's her issues? Here we go. Insider trader, piece of shit. Coronavirus. All right, okay, well, where are the issues exactly? I'm not really seeing any. Where's the fucking issues, Kelly? All right, well, that's not super helpful at all. I clicked on the issues tab. You saw that. Where did you go? Why is she not? Probably because she doesn't want you actually knowing. Like, yeah, that's literally, she's not telling you where she stands on any of the things. I mean, I guess we could take a look at her sponsored legislation, maybe get some idea. Child exploitation, reducing Veterans Homelessness Act, Securing Our Elections Act. Oh, and then, yeah, this was this transphobic thing that I think Tulsi Gabbard was also on board with. Again, nothing that, really improves the conditions of the working class, but that this is where focus is. Holding Rioters Accountable Act of 2020. I mean, for God's sakes. All right, so that's Loeffler, complete right-wing hack beholden to special interests in corporations. So let's look at David Perdue. And then this is what they're concerned about. Loeffler, Perdue warn against potential Atlanta Braves renaming. Really, that's what you're trying to highlight right now when tens of millions of people have lost their jobs. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The working class is really struggling, and this is the fucking hill you want to die on. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking nut jobs. All right, where is? Oh, and no issues again. They don't, because they are so far to the right on these issues. They're not saying that they don't support, even the centrist policies of, Obamacare or means testing student debt relief, like Warnock and Ossoff. And then they have this fucking stupid national debt calculator when that doesn't really matter right now when people are struggling and inflation isn't an issue. Helping you. How is he helping you? Case flag request. All right. Well, there you go. So, and then just for a little refresher, Loeffler and Perdue insider trading. Here we go. There's one. Perdue and Loeffler's well-timed trades. Fuck off. I don't want an advertisement. Get out of here. Perdue and Loeffler's well-timed stock trades give Georgia Democrats an opening. They're just bad people who you shouldn't be trusting. But I'm Kelly Loeffler. I got a hat with the American flag. You can trust me. Coverage shares a theme. Perdue used his position in the Senate to enrich himself and his wealthy donors. The story follow the revelation from the spring that Perdue, a multimillionaire, traded stocks following a private January briefing on the coronavirus. At the same time, he publicly downplayed the coronavirus, and yet he's still in the Senate and nothing has happened. This sounds familiar. It's because his colleague, Senator Kelly Loeffler, did the same thing, sparking a Senate ethics investigation. Together, Perdue and Loeffler made a unique pair, two uber-rich senators whose wealth helped bring them power and put them in a position where they can make more money. And yet they don't want you to have health care. They don't want to get rid of your student loan debt. They don't want to get rid of your medical debt. They don't want to tax the rich because that would be hurting themselves and their donors. The last thing Perdue and Loeffler want is for their actions to become the theme of Georgia's crucial runoff election, which together will determine if the Senate remains under Republican control. So, again, complete right-wing corporatists who try to, pretend they have some type of working class, interest, when in fact it's the complete opposite. And that's typical for a huge majority of the Republicans. We have to remind people of what the Democrats will do, Perdue told supporters in a recent call that was leaked to WAPO. It has nothing to do with Kelly or me. Oh, that's funny. While both Loeffler and Perdue have denied wrongdoing related to their investments and said they relied on portfolio managers to make day-to-day decisions, watchdog groups warn that lawmakers trade individual stocks while legal... Oh, we'll see. We'll see. So what do you think? Who are the Democrats? Are both the Democrats going to win in this? Are one of them? Are both the Republicans? Leave your thoughts down below. Peace.